I know things you never see. You never see someone taking a shit while running at full speed.
Come on, kid, get rid of some of them turds in the shit box.
Welcome to the Bathroom Break Podcast with me, Rab himself.
Butts. Boring back wall, you should paint this.
God, it's a really boring back wall.
That's going to be my comments on all the videos.
Listen, what you just said, boring story, but not nearly as boring as this white...
Subject matter was fantastic. Love the podcast. Josh Florhaug's a comedy god. Wall, B+.
Whoa, you're really giving me a great score, though. I was thinking much lower. As an F-, because those are the pictures that came in the frame.
Oh, you can tell.
Uh-huh.
I've also been to a Pier 1.
Hello and welcome to the Bathroom Break Podcast. I'm Rab himself, and my guest is Josh Florhaug, comedian, connoisseur of comedy. The guy's hilarious. If you didn't just hear, he made an off-the-cuff joke about those pictures looking like, hey, they must be the pictures that came in the frame. He was right.
And you guys just hung him up like that.
Yep. You know, that's how we do it.
You guys are like, yeah, we got married. We have memories, but how about a flower pot?
Remember that day with that wagon wheel? Yeah. It was great.
You can tell your family does nothing fun.
Yes.
Nothing says we live an exciting married life like hanging up stock photos.
Hey, take a look at that door. Yeah, that door. You know that door.
We've been there.
God damn it. Yep. We're just, interior decorators at our hearts, and
This is way more decorated than my place.
yeah, this is what we do. But it's boring. It's boring. It's our life, but it's boring.
It is. This is what getting old is. It's just pictures of flower pots and birdhouses. The
God
older I
damn.
get, the more into it I am, too.
I know.
I'm into decks.
Yes.
I'm like, this is a nice deck.
This is a really nice deck. Did you just stain it now, or do you stain it once a year, or how does that work?
Oh, I remember being 20 and people are like, I might make it burgundy. And I'm like, fuck these guys. And now they're like, I might make it burgundy. And I'm like, ooh. It really matches.
That really does. It does. It really just kind of pulls the whole house together.
Makes it warm.
It's a nice, cozy feel. Yeah, that's the life we live. And when you're in college, it's like, hey, look at the tits on that one. Hang that up.
Let's put tit pictures everywhere.
Yeah, I like tits, in case you didn't know.
Tits and cars.
Cars are cool, too. You know how you get those tits? By having a cool car.
That is. That's how you get tits.
Seriously, though. I mean, that's how you do it.
Yep, I drive a Nissan Altima. My girlfriend has inverted breasts.
But I got a muscle car, 1969 Chevelle.
Big old titties.
Tits are huge. I don't know if they're real, but hey, they're good.
They're big.
Yeah. Oh, man. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, sir?
I'm good. We were talking about the holiday festivities and the fact that you were a male cheerleader in high school and you were doing backflips on Christmas.
I did a backflip on Christmas into my mom's pool.
Yes. It was impressive.
Still upsetting because if you can see on the camera, I'm 5'8", 216, in shape.
Just, a beast. Really.
Also, if you were wondering, so was Mike Tyson in his prime.
Yeah.
I'm the size of Iron Mike.
Uh-huh.
We both have a lisp.
So you're saying you're Iron Mike reincarnated?
I'm
basically.
saying top physical shape you could be in as a human.
It doesn't get any better than this.
I did a backflip into my mom's apartment pool.
Yeah, I had to get a side angle wide shot to just show the real...
How fat and white I am.
Yeah. I was thinking how great shape you were, but yes.
Nothing about me says he can backflip into a pool. In the daytime, he's allowed outside without his shirt. Good.
Good. But hey, I saw it. There's proof.
There is proof. I sent to everybody for Christmas. On the drive home while Morgan was driving, I'm like, I'm going to text everybody on my phone, Merry Christmas with this backflip photo. And she just went, all right.
Fine. Go for it.
Yep.
But I love because you gave it to me for Christmas and everyone else as well. And that was the gift. Like, you're welcome.
That was the gift.
I can do this.
Hey, you guys. Look, 32, still got it. My cheer coach was proud.
So a cheerleader in high school.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, whenever I think male cheerleader, I think of like Will Ferrell doing that skit, on SNL.
The Spartans is about the same.
It's just right about that.
I wasn't even good at it.
Just a page out of your life, really.
Yeah. You think your parents aren't proud of you when you ride the bench? Try cheering for a team that's losing and not even being good at cheering for the losing team. My mom came to very few games.
Yeah, I would imagine.
My dad left way before that.
He was embarrassed.
He knew it was coming.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, this is what he's going to grow up to be. I'm out.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the future here, and I fold.
Yeah. He's like, well, it's not my kid.
Yeah. No, I love it, and yeah, your mom probably came to one, saw what she needed to see.
Yep,
and,
she's like, well, I could spend my time doing anything else.
And she did.
She did. She just sat at home, watched HGTV.
And it was much more worthwhile.
She's like, I come to your game, but House Hunters is on.
Yeah.
For the 9th straight hour, and I want to see if
Sorry.
these people get the house. It's like, I get it.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. So how the hell did you become a male cheerleader?
My English teacher talked me into it. I've always been like a silly guy, and I was just having fun in English class, and she was the cheer coach, and they got a mascot costume. They bought this big, expensive mascot outfit, so she wanted me to do that.
Yeah.
But I had to join the cheer team because they had a co-ed like stunt where you like throw the girls and stuff.
Yeah.
So they needed all the guys they could get, so they enticed me with the mascot outfit, but I had to do the actual cheering as well.
Okay, and what was the mascot
We were
outfit?
the Dysart Demons.
Ooh.
So think like Casper the Friendly Ghost, like the ghost with the diaper, but like a devil with the diaper.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I went to nationals 2 years in a row.
Oh, so you were good at this.
Yeah, because I didn't have any rhythm, so it was silly how I was dancing. I thought I was crushing it. In my head, I'm like Michael Jackson songs. I was like, I probably look like MJ right now. Nervous, just laughing, and I'm like, I am crushing this moonwalk.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, you're not.
Hey, well, you believed in yourself.
I
and
did.
That's all
In my
that
head,
mattered.
like in the costume, I'm like doing it. And
This
live,
is
they're
it.
like, this is hilarious.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, so national competition.
Yeah, they shut down Disneyland for 3 days for it. It was cool.
Whoa.
Yeah, and because we went with the school, I was the only guy who qualified for nationals, so I got my own hotel room in the Disneyland resort and everything. Because they couldn't
Damn.
have us sleep together.
Yeah.
I mean, it later turned into like one or two of the girls would sleep in my room with me, but like
Yeah.
according to like how it was laid out and explained to the parents.
Oh, okay. Wait, one or two would sleep in your room
Yeah.
and just like.
Just sleep.
Yeah. Okay.
As much as I want to like on this be like crushing, I know someone will listen to it.
Yeah.
I had a conjoining room with my coach, and I know one of the girls came in, and she was like, "Oh, this girl slept in bed with Josh." She goes, "Like anything happened."
All right.
Yeah.
Well, my reputation
I was like, something
precedes me.
could have happened. I yelled from the other room. And she's
I
like,
swear.
no, it didn't. And I'm like, no, it didn't.
You're right. It didn't.
A lot of first base.
Uh-huh. a lot of
Closed mouth kisses goodnight.
All right. Good night.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, okay. So, and where did you go to high school? You were in Minnesota? Or?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
I'm from Minneapolis.
Yeah, okay.
When my parents got divorced when I was 12, my mom moved us to Phoenix.
Okay, cool.
And then I moved back to
University of Phoenix. correct?
University of
Okay,
Phoenix, the
got it.
college campus.
Yes.
And then I moved back to Minneapolis when the economy crashed when I finished college.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when the economy crashed,
wait.
Minneapolis was just booming.
It was still doing okay. The Midwest is always, as you know, still doing okay.
Yeah.
No one spends money, and everybody's responsible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're smart.
Yeah.
They're not idiots.
Yeah.
I can't claim to be that. I've lived on the coast on either side of my life and complete idiot.
Yeah.
Got it.
Now I live here, and I'm just throwing money.
Yes, just wasting it regularly. Yeah. So then back to Minneapolis, and that's where you got started in comedy?
Yeah, back to Minneapolis. Comedy was always just kind of, I loved comedy. I always watched it as a kid. My uncle's a very famous comedian. My uncle's Louie Anderson.
Oh,
yeah.
I totally knew that.
Yeah, my uncle's a very famous comedian, and I've always watched comedy as a kid.
Yeah.
Growing up with my parents being divorced, we always, my mom always made, she'd order pizza on Friday nights, and we'd watch Comedy Central Presents. It was like a big thing in our house.
That sounds fun, dude.
So that was awesome.
Yeah.
And then I always wanted to do it when I was 25, 26. I signed up for a contest. I'd never done comedy before, and I won that contest.
Wow.
As like a bucket list thing. I was like, I want to do comedy, and I'd send it for contest. I was like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing this.
Yeah. And so many comedians are like, go F yourself now, pal. I've been doing this for so long. You sign right up and win the contest. Yeah. Well, it sounds like, you know what it sounds like? Ellen. Because remember Ellen talked about her story where she won this contest of being the funniest person in America. And then she's like, but I had 10 minutes of material.
Yeah, I saw that on her newest special.
Yeah.
And her old special, she talked about it too a little bit. But yeah.
But is that kind of like where you probably didn't have a whole lot of material?
No, I had that 5 minutes, and that was it.
Where you're like,
and
but
I think
it was
that
crushing.
was 4.5. I don't think I made it the full 5. I think I got the light.
Yeah.
The 30-second light, and I was like, nope, I'm done.
Yeah, I don't have any more. I'm out of here.
Yep, this is it. And in my head, I was like, can you push for 30 seconds?
Nope. All right, and I'm gone.
Yep.
So, okay, and you won that contest.
And then I was like, I'm going to do comedy every day. So I went to 1 or 2 open mics every day for months and for 2 years, but I did it for a couple months, and then I got to open for one of my local buddies, and I opened for him in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Still have not told my uncle I did comedy. So
right.
Yeah, because he's my great uncle, so it'd be bothersome. He has a lot of nieces and nephews.
Yeah,
I didn't want to bother him. I assumed other people were doing what I was doing.
Right, and I mean I think because Louie Anderson is your uncle, and he's had an incredible career that has stretched over, I don't know what,
40
decades.
Years. Yeah.
So I imagine throughout the family or throughout the friends, people are going, hey, Louie, can you help this person? And can you help that person? And I imagine over the years, it's like, all right, God, and so I mean, you probably read that of like, you know what? I'm just going to do my own thing. And it's also a big shadow to be in. I love talking to people that are family members of people that are ginormous stars because it's like, all right, well, I'm a long-lost son of Jimi Hendrix, and I happen to play guitar. It's like, get out of here, kid.
It's like, go to hell.
Yeah, and so, I mean, there's a big shadow, and I bet you it was like, let me just do my thing and see what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, is that like...
Yeah, that's what I did. I told no one I was related to him. My last name's Florhaug, so it's not Anderson.
Yeah.
And I just did comedy. I opened for a buddy, and then that booker was booking Louie, and he had no money to pay the opener and just saw an opener he liked who was very new. So he approached me, and he's like, do you want to work for Louie Anderson for $0? And that was like, absolutely. And
that's
like,
awesome.
Perfect. And then I called my mom, and I was like, hey, can I get Louie's number? And she's like, I don't have it. Grandma has it. So I called my grandma, and I was like, hey, can I get Louie's number? And she's like, all right. And I called Louie, who I've met 5 times at this point.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, man, you're doing a show in La Crosse. And he's like, yeah, do you want tickets? Because it's what the call's always for.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, do you know who's opening for you? He's like, I have no idea. The guy's setting it up. And I go, I'm opening for you. And he goes, how did that happen? Because he figures I talked my way into it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I've been doing comedy for 4 months. I told no one else related to you. The guy doesn't know we're related. So, I mean, you can keep it like that if you want. But I'm opening for you. And he's like, oh, you must be pretty funny. Okay. And then we get to the show. He's talking to me. And I'm like, hey, will you watch my set? And he's like, absolutely not. And I was like, why? And he's like, I mentor comics. It's a thing I do. He's like, I just don't think you're ready for the criticism I give. And I'd like you to just be new. Just be new and learn. And I was like, no, watch me. This is how I want to learn. I want to learn as hard as possible.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right. And I went on and did my set. And then I brought the other guy up. And he was sitting behind the curtain in a theater with a notebook. And he threw the notebook at me. And I grabbed it, and I was like, what's in it?
Did.
Yeah, I was like, what's in it? And I was like, flipping through the pages, there's nothing. And he goes, nothing. You're great. Slow down.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, what? Really? And he's like, yeah. And that's kind of how our relationship started. I've been opening for him for the last 3 years.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you feel that you did like on that set? Did you feel like, oh, I crushed it?
Yeah, I felt like,
Okay.
oh, I crushed it. I talk too fast. I've had that problem for up until a year ago,
Okay.
and he's always giving me shit about that.
He just is like, slow down.
Slow down. He's slow down, and then sometimes he'll be like really mean about it. He'll be like, "Do you want the crowd to think you're on drugs?" I was like, well, why would they think I'm on drugs? He goes, "How fast you're talking."
Yeah, because it seems like cocaine is
Yeah.
in the mix.
Yeah, he's like, I don't know. They're an older crowd. They probably just think you're on drugs.
Oh man.
And just enough shaming me.
Digging you right in there, yeah.
Just enough shaming me. Well, just like really great criticism from a great comic, and then like I slowed down, and that's how I've gotten better.
Yeah.
And it's hard to work his crowds because he has such a loyal fan base. And some of this fan base, especially in Minnesota where we're from, they're not necessarily giant comedy fans.
Right.
They're Louie fans.
Right.
So, like, I'm winning over people who have no desire to see me whatsoever.
Yeah.
They are like, this guy's on, where's Louie?
Right. I mean, a lot of times when you go to see your favorite band, they're
Yeah.
like, hey, get this opening band out
Yeah,
of here.
yeah. And it's just like, all right. And that's how I learned is like to do these, like people are like, oh, it must be great to do big shows. And I'm like, yeah, it's 400 people who have no desire to hear anything I have to say.
Yeah, that's hard, man.
Yeah, and it's
That's
like
rough.
always like a conservative crowd, and I placate on like being a straight cheerleader and things like that. So like people thinking I'm gay but not being gay, and for an older crowd, they're like, nah, this guy's queer.
Yeah. Oh, this guy's definitely a queer.
Yeah, they're like, you can say it all you want, buddy. That girlfriend's a beard.
You can't convince yourself of something we already know.
Yeah. And it's like, I'm just everybody's son that they hate. And
Oh,
I'm still
God.
trying to win them. I did a show with him in Vegas at the South Point, and this girl came up to me with her boyfriend and gave me a big hug and kissed me. And she goes, "They didn't like you as funny as you were."
Oh, man.
I didn't think I did that bad.
She's
But like for her to be like, "You were great, fuck them," and I'm like, really?
and this guy needs a hug.
Yeah. It went that bad to you?
She's like, hold on, Sean. I gotta go give him a hug. He needs a fucking
Yeah,
hug.
we liked him. He
Yeah.
should know somebody here liked him.
Yeah. Oh man. So I just said the F word,
Yes.
and I was thinking to myself, do you work clean a lot of the time? I mean, like,
I work clean for the most part. I can work clean. I can
Yeah.
also work dirty.
okay.
I can do both.
But when you're opening for Louie,
When I work, Louie expects clean.
yeah. So
He's
okay.
let me get away with a lot more now. Like I do some jokes that touch on the topic of sex and things like that. Like I'm not like I was getting it in, blah blah blah. But I'm like
Yeah.
I like mention sex because I'm a fiance and like we have sex sometimes.
Oh.
So I talk about
Really?
it. Yeah, when you're engaged, if you remember back then.
Yeah.
You have sex a couple times and then you get married and it stops.
Yeah. Then that's over it.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah,
So,
so-
and it's funny too, because like you're not trying to say it like you're a cool guy. It's more like here's the awkwardness of what this is.
Yeah, I'm very like you've watched my comedy. It's
Yeah.
very very stumbly awkward guy.
Yeah.
Because I am that guy.
Yeah.
I'm very fidgety. I'm very
Yeah.
anxious.
And be yourself, and that's what
Yeah,
works.
I'm
the
not
best.
crushing it.
Yeah. Really could have fooled me.
Yeah, my girlfriend looks like a person who would date me.
Yeah.
Is my favorite
Yeah.
bit I'm doing right now because the crowd's just like the crowd most of the time goes "Aw,"
Yeah.
and I go, "That's where you put that."
Yeah. Dude, it's good. I mean, I've seen clips of your stuff, and I don't think I've gotten to see you live
You're
yet.
not. You're a bad friend, but
Yeah, terrible friend. And I'm just outing myself right now on the podcast to let everybody know I'm a horrible friend.
Yep. If you ever want your friend Chris to watch you, just send him a video.
Yeah.
You invite him to the show. He won't come.
Yeah, he's not gonna. And even the video I didn't watch for a minute, and I remember you
That's
going,
fantastic.
"What the hell?"
Yeah, we
And-
hung out again.
Yeah.
And then you're like, resend it to me.
Yeah, whoops. But I have to admit, it was hilarious, and I love your style, and I was hoping to make it to that Laugh Factory show.
Yeah.
And I ended up having to be stuck on set. And,
Yeah, that's okay.
But I want to make it to one of the shows, and you've been doing a bunch at the Laugh Factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, they've been super great to me, which is so fantastic to have a club that renowned, like, take
Yeah.
me in when
I mean,
I've been on TV once and it wasn't anything big.
Yeah.
Because they are, like, every show I'm on is just killers. And then, Like I'm keeping up, but it's like this crowd doesn't know who I am. My name on
Right.
the billboard isn't selling tickets.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, but it's incredible. I mean, you were there with like David Spade and Dane Cook, and like
Yeah, that was one show.
Yeah.
One show was David Spade, Dane Cook, me, and then Godfrey. And it's just like
Man.
all these legends. And then in the middle, it's me.
Yeah.
And Dane went after me. He watched my set, and then he said, nice set. He really liked it. And then me and him chatted for like an hour after that, which is huge for me because I'm in that age group where my first comedy album was Dane Cook's Armful of Swallowed.
Oh, damn.
So it's one of those things where it's like, wow, this guy was one of the influences of me, is now talking to me, and the first thing he said, he goes, hey man, don't get weird. He's like, we're peers. We're two guys on the same show.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's just
awesome.
like, wow, that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, that feels pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
got to be cool. I mean, you've been doing it for a little while now. Like you said.
Doing it about 6 years, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because you were saying at 4 months in, you won the contest, and then it's like, but you were in Minnesota at the time,
Yeah.
and then when did you come out to LA?
I came out to LA at the end of April. So I've been out here about 8 months.
Oh, you recently came.
Yeah,
out.
I'm very.
Okay.
When I met you, it had been like one of the first couple shows that I went to.
Yeah, I think I remember you telling me that now, and it's just crazy, but like it's working out, and the thing is like you have it, so it's like of course you're like okay, you have a connection to someone who has done really well and is a legend,
Yeah.
but you also have it. You're also hilarious, and you also have the chops, and you've done the work, and you keep doing that, and so it's like.
And that is a big part of it, and that's a thing that like a lot of people I think in comedy and that didn't get it. And I had a lot of people early in my career who are like, why aren't you using this Louie connection
Right.
enough? And I was like 2-3 years of comedy. I'm like, no, I'm not going to use it yet. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And everybody's like, you're ready. And I'm like, no, because you only get the Louie shot for him to call a club for you one time. They don't
Right.
care who he is. He can make one call to one club and they will put you on that week. And it's all about how you do. And
Right.
I waited and waited, and now that I'm 6 years in, now I'm making that call, and I'm ready for that call.
Right.
Every club he's gotten me into, I've gotten booked back.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. If I would have used it early when a lot of my friends were telling me to use it, Louie would have got yelled at. Not yelled at, but they would have been like, hey,
Well,
it's cool that you're doing that for your nephew, but never again.
right.
And that would hurt Louie. That would not his feelings, but his reputation. And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
another thing I care about is like, I want to be the product of a guy with that credit that he's sending.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want his stock to go down, and it won't in terms of like, I mean, he's legendary and will always be. But,
Yeah, his stock.
But I mean stock in terms of
Recommendations.
yeah,
Yeah.
like in terms of like, hey, now I do have another great guy, and they go, well, the last guy you sent over,
Yeah.
know,
Really? How great is he? Your nephew ate shit.
Yeah.
5 shows.
Right.
And
yeah.
Yeah. And
So-
that's the whole thing is I want. I mean, it's the ego of it all, but I don't only want to do well. I want the club to be like, thank you.
Yeah.
That's I mean, that is the ego of it all. It's like I want to do so great that they thank Louie for sending a great comic.
Yeah, and they're just psyched on that, and dude, and that says a lot for how much you love and respect the craft. Of, of working at it to that point and recognizing, hey, don't reach out for that yet until you feel ready, and you, I mean, and I think you are now because like the stuff that I've seen, I didn't see the coming up part, but I see where you're at now, and it's tight, it's solid, and it's funny, and you craft jokes well.
Thank you.
So it just is kind of like. Yeah, this guy should be on that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I knew that right away when I met you. It was like, oh, he's funny as hell, and then.
Yeah, because you met me in like the perfect situation because you were kind of lurking around because you were on Darkest Hour, which is our friend Josh Denny's.
Yeah.
And me and Josh go back so far that when I show up, we start busting balls.
Right.
And ripping on each other. And you, who I knew from TV loosely, like I was like, is that Chris Rabb? And then you're just kind of lurking around laughing at me and Josh Denny.
Yeah.
Just non-stop ripping each other.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because you're ripping on him like, oh, the host of Ginormous Foods, and I was like, whoa, who is this guy? And then he's like, you look like you're like some nephew of Louie Anderson. I was like, he kind of does.
He
look
has
like
me programmed in his phone as Josh Baskets.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I first heard it, I was like, oh, maybe he could be like his nephew or something. And then it's like, Oh, you really are?
Yeah.
Okay. And then it was like, oh, and then you're a comedian, because I didn't know that where we were standing at that point.
Yeah,
Didn't
'cause I
even
wasn't
know
on the
yet.
show.
I just
Yeah.
knew you were funny, and I knew you were ripping him apart, and I thought that was hilarious because he's a buddy of mine. He was on the very first episode of this podcast.
I can't believe it's still around.
Yeah, me either. Well, we're only 3 episodes in, but you
Good.
know, but no, I mean it's just funny. And then meeting you then, and then that night I went up and did the first and only time I've ever gone up on stage and told a story.
You need to do that again.
I know.
Because
I
it was great, and the story was really funny.
Well, thanks, man. Yeah.
I've told people like the other part of the story because like I grew up in that era, so I have friends who have seen CKY and have seen the shitting at full speed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what happened the rest of that night?
Dude, yeah, it was like, I mean, that's when I was, because when Josh was, he you know, kind of challenged me to go do it, because I had said for maybe a couple of years, like, oh, I'd love to give that a shot, like sometime, like just to go up and maybe tell some stories, and he was like, on the podcast, he's like, you got to do it. So that like put the pressure on to do it, and I'm trying to think of stories, and there's so many different stories, and,
Yeah.
and I'd love to try more up there.
You should try to get on his show when it comes back.
Yeah.
Because Darkest Hour is coming back, and he told me because he's going to have me on as well.
Oh, sweet. That would be awesome.
We
to
should
be
be on together, yeah.
I'll go before you, because I don't want to have to follow that.
Yeah. I'm into it.
Well, let me jump in there before you steal the whole
That's good
room.
because I have a ton of bits about jumping into bushes and pooping.
Yeah. Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, it was fun and like scary a bit, and then but. I got, of course you get the notes from people on your YouTube things. I put the video up on there, and they're like, he has no comedic timing. And, that's what they were saying.
First time on stage.
Yeah. And then, so that's what I was saying. I'm like, it's the very first time I ever tried
Yeah.
it. I felt, probably with it, like similar to what your uncle had said to you for all this time. I really felt like, I need to slow down, breathe a little bit, feel the room like that. But when the very first time you're going up, I mean, I've been on stage throughout my life on a ton of, things, from the CKY shows and from live Jackass shows and stunt shows and those things. But I've never been up there just by myself trying to make people laugh.
That's what it is. That's the
hard.
scary part about it. Like, I have musician friends who are like, I could never do it because you can hide behind a guitar and a band. But when you're up there, that's it.
Yeah, like
it's no
CKY
net.
show. Yeah, CKY show. I'll come out. What's going on? How's everybody doing? To get a chant going for the band, and then as the band comes out, I jump off of the balcony into the crowd and that stuff. And that was like easy because you had that.
Yeah.
But then I've got to stand up here and basically be naked for the next 10, 15 minutes in the beginning, and then some. Obviously I don't know how long your set is now, but it just gets more and more and more, and that's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Every jump is harder too, because like when you start out like hosting and doing these showcases, you're like 10 to 15 minutes, and then once you start middling at a club, you're like a half hour. So now you're doubling that, and then headlining is 45 to an hour, so you're doubling that as well.
Man,
And
that seems crazy to be up there for an hour,
is.
and trying and making sure you're making people laugh the whole hour.
The whole time.
That's insane. But I mean, and so when I did it, I tried it, and it was like that. Yeah, like I felt that feeling. Like I didn't know that it felt like it did. Like got up there, and then there's this bright light, and I'm like, I can't really see anything, and like
It
it's like
disorients you.
Yeah.
And you can see the first 5 people, and that's it.
Yeah, and then you're up there alone, and you're the one that's supposed to make everybody laugh out of thin air. Like it's just quiet. And then you've got to create laughter.
You are setting the mood. Saying it out loud is the most horrifying thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it's the most magical, fun thing, too.
Yeah, it was. It was a lot of fun, and I think because like we were saying before the show, I hear you dogging on Josh, and then he's ripping on you, and that's funny. And I'm like, okay. And then I go up, and after I did it, I came down and then saw you and Nick Romero, another comedian, and you guys were just so encouraging, and it was cool. It was like a rush. Like I'm sitting there, like, man, that felt awesome.
There's no better high in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and I've gotten high off a lot of things, and it was cool, man.
Yeah, we all have, and like that. I think that's a thing with comedy, and like the addiction of it all is like trying to chase the stage, and you can't chase the stage.
Oh yeah.
You can drink your face off or do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Can't chase the stage.
Yeah.
A great set is the greatest feeling in the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like I felt that coming off. Like, oh, I could see how you would be addicted to this and want to do this every single night, but like multiple times a night.
Yep.
And like I could see how it would be like that.
My first year and a half was like 1 to 2 stages a night.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't all go great, but I just bounced to the next one. I'd have my notebook and I'd be like, all right, that didn't work. This will work. And it's like putting together the math pieces and creating this puzzle, and you're building your set and you're like, oh, this is working. And you can, especially when you first start out and you're doing all these sets, you feel yourself grow. So it's like, that's the thrill. It's like, oh, I'm becoming this. I'm creating a character, and the character's yourself, and you're like, people like me, and
Man, yeah, and that's
coolest feeling in the
cool.
world, yeah.
When you said that, it reminded me of that Seinfeld, like I think his newest special or one of his newest.
Oh, Jerry before Seinfeld?
Yeah, I think so. And he had like all those bits laid out on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like.
And he's like, here's hundreds of hours.
Yeah, man, it's just insane how much goes into it, and you're just writing and so, like as far as like constructing the joke, you kind of like my question would be like, how do you know when you say you have something that's hilarious and you know it's good, but you bomb because you don't deliver it right that night, and then the crowd didn't take to it, but it's a good bit. How do you know not to throw that out because it didn't do well, but to know there's something there and I got to keep kind of mining that because, you know, I maybe I didn't deliver it correctly, maybe this and that. Like how that's such a
What I do is
process.
I record all my sets on my phone. And then I go back and listen to it and things like that where it's like, oh, I told it this way and it got a lot of laughs, and then I tweaked it just slightly and it got nothing. So I got to go back to how it was, and I got to cut these two things out, you know, cut the fat out of it.
Okay.
And then go into it. Or, like, basically just change the whole bit entirely because you're like, this premise is great, but let's find different angles. Basically, remember when you were a kid and in English class, you'd make the web for writing?
Yeah.
And you'd be like, the paragraph is going to be about cars.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And then you're like, red cars.
Yeah.
Fast cars. I do that with jokes.
Oh,
I create a
okay.
web. I'm like, you know, like sleeping in a bed with my girlfriend. And I'm like, she sleeps with her knee up. She's the big spoon. She farts in her sleep. And then I'm like, all right, which one of these bullet points in the big picture is working? Where can we cut out? And things like that.
Oh, wow. That's really cool to hear that process.
Yeah, it's a thing I use, and it's what works for me.
All right, well, I'm going to take it, steal it, and go, and then
You should,
all of a
'cause
sudden...
it's from Louie.
I was like, Louie's now my uncle.
Louie
it's
is
weird.
now your uncle.
It's weird how that
He
works.
sends his love, by the way.
Yes.
Yes. Doing this podcast.
That's funny. But yeah, so that's just really really cool, man, to hear that process of it. So what do you right now, like what shows do you have coming up?
What shows? I'm at the Balboa Theater, January 19th with Louie.
Okay.
1,300 person theater in San Diego.
Is that already sold out? That's when, January 19th?
Yeah. I don't know if it is. Why, are you
Okay.
going to drive to San Diego?
Maybe, dude. I'm thinking about it.
I can get you and your wife a comp.
You could?
Yeah.
We should do that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right.
We'll talk about
We'll
that
talk
after.
about it. Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. That's no problem.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Louie would love to meet you.
Yeah.
And then I'm in the semifinals, the Super Bowl at Flappers Comedy Club. I did their first round of their show.
Oh, nice.
And that was pretty cool. I won that, so I won $101.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
I'm
hope you
rich.
didn't spend it all.
I'm rich.
Well, that's it. I'm retiring.
And then I can't think. I have other stuff.
So, Flappers, explain that. What is that? Like, so there's like a contest that you kind of keep.
Yeah. Basically, every week they have a contest for like the duration of a couple months, and then the first two places move on.
Yeah.
Every week, and then they have a semifinals. They have a couple different semifinals throughout that 6 months, and then those people move on to the finals.
Okay, and where are you at in the
semifinals?
Semifinals.
Yep.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
And so it's who is involved? Like, is it like is there like other comedians that we know, or is it people that are kind of competing to get
known?
Yeah,
it's not like big known comics.
And so at the end of it, what would you win if you win the finals?
$2,000, I believe.
Okay.
But the judges from the semifinals on are all like talent managers and agents.
That's more what I was
So
getting
that's
at. Yeah.
more what I care about. It's
Right.
almost like I'd rather just showcase in front of them, like winning the money or winning the title would be cool.
Yeah.
But to get representation and then to
I
get
think
money and work later would be even cooler.
I think the $2,000 over the course of 6 months ought to cover just about everything for you. So
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm basically financially set.
But yeah, no, I assume that it would be something like that. So then, okay, so the representation and the people that can kind of
Yeah,
sort that
can
out.
pull some strings and
Yeah.
things like that. I mean, Louie's also helping on that front right now with me. He's
Yeah.
talking to his manager and stuff and seeing what we can do for me, because obviously his manager isn't looking to represent me.
Oh, what? Oh.
Because of the level of talent.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying. He's like,
I'm sure there's somebody new in his office though, and that's what we're kind of working on. Which
Oh,
would be
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and I just think like, because you could like, so I'll say like, I feel like when Louie was coming up and like, the Seinfelds and all the people that are like, and he's before that, but right? Like he's before Seinfeld, like
Mid 80s, so right about the same time.
Okay, around that time.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the goal was, okay, I'm a stand-up comedian, I'm hilarious, I'll get my special, but then I also want to get my sitcom.
Yeah.
And
The
then
goal was Carson.
Yeah.
The goal was you got on Carson,
Yeah,
and then if you got
exactly.
invited to the couch,
Yeah.
you're
You're
done.
set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Louis, one of the greatest Carsons of all time. That's,
Right.
That's a very known
That's
thing. He had one
why.
of the best sets. He got
Yeah.
invited to the couch multiple times.
Yeah.
And he told me, he's like, yeah, I woke up to 15 voicemails
Oh,
after
wow.
Carson. He's like,
Yeah.
my career was set
Yeah.
that next morning.
Man, that's incredible.
And that doesn't exist anymore.
I was
but
going to ask that. Like, is there anything that's the equivalent of that nowadays that like could kind of set something?
I mean,
is it like the
like a
Montreal?
Yeah, Montreal, if you do well there, they can kind of set you up. But like even if you did like a Conan and stuff, it doesn't hold the same weight.
Right. Yeah. And okay, and then you were saying like Netflix, because I mean it seems like a lot of people get specials.
The Netflix like 15 minutes and stuff, I think that could
Oh,
set you up.
yeah,
I think that
okay.
would put you in a pretty good spot, but I'm not quite sure on those people either.
Yeah,
I know
okay.
they're doing well, but
Yeah.
how well are they doing?
Yeah, you mean the people that get into those?
Yeah, the 15-minute spots.
Okay.
Like the half-hour spots are already very established comics, and
Right.
the hours are obviously the killers right now.
Right, and what To Catch a Rising Star was a big thing back
Yes,
then.
that was back then.
Yeah.
Because that's what Ellen was on, right?
I think so. Yeah. Okay, and so I mean, that what's that show that was Last Comic Standing? That doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, because that kind of sort of had a vibe.
It
like
had a
that.
lot of good pull. I have
Yeah.
a friend who was one of the finalists, and she's Andy Erickson. She's doing fantastic. She's traveling the country. She's
Yeah.
a very popular comic, and that was all from Last Comic Standing. And
Oh,
so
yeah.
that helps, but that show doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I had a network audition with America's Got Talent,
Oh, okay.
and I'm gonna let you guys in, podcast listeners. Those shows are rigged.
Oh, really? I don't believe you.
They found me on YouTube and they had me come out to Chicago.
Uh-huh.
And then they listened to my stand-up. They loved it. And then I didn't have a story sellable enough.
Oh.
Because nothing bad happened to me yet.
Well, I was talking to you earlier about
Yeah.
some things.
Well,
like, yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
shitty part is like I was like, I'm in debt and I had a single mom and my dad's an alcoholic and I didn't have a dad. And they're like, yeah, so does all of America. And then a year and a half later, I had all this medical stuff happen.
Yeah.
Where I almost died touring and all this stuff happened. And then I tried to reach out to him this year.
Oh.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So you're like, look.
But I was like, I was laying in the hospital. I'm like, if this would only happened a year ago. And they're like, you're going to die. And I'm like, can you call America's Got Talent and tell them that?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Just let them know I am
Yeah.
finally ready.
Yeah, that's how I kept the hospital light. My girlfriend is just so scared her boyfriend's going to pass away. Checked myself out of the ER to go do some shows. And I'm like, but wouldn't this be cool if this happened a year ago? I could have told America's Got Talent this.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my God.
She's like, shut up.
She's like, I'm
this
going to have
is
to
real.
bury my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And all he can think about is getting a 3-minute spot on a network game show.
Yeah. There's something that's not even a focus on comedy.
He should be focused on getting better. And he's like, but we could probably call them, right?
But listen, I have a hunch.
Yeah.
Don't kill this for me. I have a chance.
I'm just talking back to him like, but where's the bit in all this?
Yeah.
My notebook out.
That's the funniest part, I think, about comedians. Like, because you guys are thinking that way when tragedy is striking.
Oh gosh, and I talk a lot about my surgeries and my near death and stuff now on stage, and it's like it's so personal, and it was so scary when it happened, and now I'm like, isn't it funny, guys?
Yeah. Everyone's like, ugh. But you find the funny in it, and I think, and I think that's what's incredible about comedians is that you guys like can poke fun at those really dark, trying times in life, and we all go through them. So how nice it is to have somebody be able to kind of lighten that up for you.
Yeah, and I think it's a good coping mechanism. I probably use it too much. Like my dad was in the hospital. There was like a great chance he wouldn't make it. And me and my brother are throwing things at each other's dicks and wrestling in this hospital. And just having a ball. Like, my extended family is like, this is the most serious time. And we're like, we're having fun.
They're like, what's wrong with those
And it's
two?
like, and my girlfriend's like, oh, he doesn't know how to cope with tragedy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is the only way. I'm crying inside.
But I'm dancing on the outside.
For me and my brother to pinch each other in the nipples.
Yeah. Man, it's true. It brought up that bit. I was thinking of that bit that Richard Pryor had after he like caught on fire freebasing. And it's like the match. He's like, what's this? And he lights the thing. Richard Pryor running down the street. Yeah.
It's something that you shouldn't talk about. Like if you told somebody the like dry story, they're like, you shouldn't tell people that. But if you tell them that like in that sense, they're like, you should tell everyone that.
Yeah. Because it's hilarious.
It is.
But man, it's so good. And how about like, how do you feel? I mean, you work pretty clean. Like you said, you can work dirty, but you work pretty clean. Like, how does it affect you now, like in this time where everything is very PC, it's touch and go, and if you stumble upon the wrong thing, you might kind of get painted as somebody that's this awful person. I mean, personally, I think, and I'm not here to defend people that do terrible things or say things that are just insensitive, but at the same time, I think comedians need to walk that line and test that boundary. And also, just because you say something like that or feel like that for the moment doesn't make you this awful insensitive person. It's that you're finding the humor in this awful stuff. That's what I feel like. But I wonder how like a comedian like yourself would feel about that.
I feel that everything is a little too under the microscope. I mean, the recent Louie things, I think that's a time and a place thing. Louie joked about things really before making a full comeback. Like I really get why Louie's getting put on the cross. But like
what is his stuff right now?
He came back, still hasn't apologized for all the terrible things he did. Came back and then started making fun of, I believe it was the Sandy Hook shooting.
Okay.
Or one of the school shootings.
Yeah.
And making fun of the kids. And it was like, it just didn't go, it wasn't funny. I didn't listen to the bit, but from what I read it wasn't funny. A lot of people are still sticking up for him. Because comics should be able to say what they want, but I think because it's Louie and he's in this weird world of his comeback not really being the appropriate way that obviously the media wants it. They want the full apology and everything. Yeah. And he keeps just trying to do stand-up and saying terrible things. Right. It's kind of like, just apologize and then light into it. But that's not a defense, but like the Kevin Hart stuff. Right. He's definitely grown past that.
Well, I mean, I think he answered it perfectly. I think he said, listen, if I haven't evolved since that time, then, I'm not growing as a person. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but...
Yeah. He's like, I have programs in place in my charities that help the LGBT community and things like that. I made a joke in 2011. He's like, if I'm still the same person from 2011, by all means, you guys should hang me on the cross, but I'm definitely not.
Right.
And I'm definitely so much of a better person. And it's like... And that's why they don't have a host for the Oscars.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants to do it because everybody said one terrible thing one time in their life. And most celebrities, that terrible thing is on tape somewhere.
Yeah.
And they know it'll get dug up.
Which is crazy to me, and not to get into this because I obviously hate this topic, but like you are now as a comedian being judged as if you're running for office.
Yeah.
But the person who's in office says the most awful, terrible things and does some awful, terrible things, and that's okay. But as a comedian, you're not allowed to do it.
Yeah, and we're not in charge of anything.
What?
We're our own business with one employee.
Right.
He's in charge of literally everyone.
Right, and that's just a whole nother thing. But
That's
it's
a
just
weird- yeah.
but it's just crazy that comedians are being put on that. I'll say, I don't know if it's pedestal or if it's a cross.
Yeah.
You know, like but it's saying like you shouldn't be put in that light that you are that responsible because your words are going to affect everything to that degree. I think if you can't, poke fun at some of this serious, sensitive stuff, then then you give more power to those issues.
Yeah.
And, you got to be able to lighten it up.
You do, and
Yeah, like when some of like when Ryan, my buddy Ryan Dunn died, we were there and we were saying the most morbid, awful shit, but it's what got us laughing again in the wake of that traumatic
and that's
situation.
what you have to. I mean, I've been in situations like that. My roommate passed away kind of under the same circumstances as your buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
And we had everybody at the house. I moved out, but his roommate who took over my spot had everybody at the house, and it was the funniest we've all ever been.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
It's therapeutic to do that.
And especially you guys and us as all comedians, and you guys were almost a sketch comedy group in your own right. So like,
yeah. That's how you want to. Sure.
In a way.
In some weird, demented way.
Some weird, demented way. You guys, if you look you up on IMDb, genre is comedy. So like, you guys all gotta have fun and talk about the memories that were fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I'm sure you guys with Ryan were very serious at times, but why talk about that?
Yeah.
Talk about the blast time.
The funny stuff.
Yeah.
And
that gets everybody in a good place.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I mean, it just seems dangerous when you're in a place now where everybody's under a microscope. Well, the comedians are under that, and that I think is what's the most important right now is being able to be funny, especially when it's this tense. And,
And that's kind of what the world needs, and everybody now has like a different view of what funny is, and that's great. Everybody has their own style of humor, and there's so much comedy out there that they can find that comedy for themselves.
Right.
But why ruin what other people like?
Right.
Just don't watch it. Don't give it power.
Exactly.
It's like the whole thing. If you hate Kevin Hart for what he said, there's 300 other specials on Netflix.
Yeah, and it's as simple as that because everybody's affected. Well, not everybody, but people that are kind of waving the flags and saying there's an issue. It's like you're so important that because you're affected by this thing now, it has to be shut down for everybody. I think that there is some level of if you don't agree with it, don't watch it. If you're not into it, don't watch it. You can't police the whole world of the mind because it's like you can the Team America World Police you can't do that around the world like that, but you also can't do that with freedom of speech because you're trying to also push everything into a box that works for the certain core group of people. But what about the people that are struggling and that comedy is making fun of something morbid or dark like that?
That's what they're into.
Is what helped them kind of feel better and start working towards getting out of a depression or working through the things that they're doing. Like, what about those people? Now they're just by the wayside because someone else couldn't take it, and just let it go.
Well, yeah, let it be.
But I don't know. It seems crazy to me, and I hesitate to even throw my hat in that in that argument.
Think about that though. Think about that. Would CKY exist today?
Hell no.
The shit you guys did.
No, it just wouldn't.
You and Ryan Dunn butt fucked each other.
Yeah.
You know how mad people would be?
Yes.
You guys are both heterosexuals having the most gay face.
It was
Did
a
you see that
skit
recently? Darren
called
Criss came out and said he wasn't going to play gay people anymore because he felt it was called gay face.
Gay Face?
You know who Darren Criss is, right? He was on Glee, and then he did The Assassination of Giovanni Versace.
Okay.
Yeah, but he's played gay characters most of his career.
Okay.
Not gay. And he's like, he apologized.
So he's doing Gay Face? That's what he
That's
considered it?
That's not what he considered it. I'm sure somebody called it that, and
Oh, Lord.
he made a career out of playing gay
So
people. Not being gay, I'm sure it wasn't his first choice to be like, hey, I'm going to stop doing this. But I read an article, and I'm like, why? He's a great actor.
Right. And no,
Tom
now...
Hanks ain't going to be done playing astronauts.
Yeah, exactly.
He's never been to space.
Well, I feel like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like we're getting to a place of like you can no longer be an actor
Yeah.
because that's acting.
That is acting, yeah.
Like I don't know. I mean, I understand the blackface thing because
that's
that's
terrible.
awful.
Yeah.
But, I don't even know if I grasp the concept of gay face.
Neither
It's
do
like,
I, but I
what?
read an article about it, and I was like, what? Death of Giovanni Versace was my favorite show last year.
Yeah. So you're like that wouldn't have been made if
That would have ruined countless Tuesday nights with my fiance.
Yes. Like, don't take this away from me.
Yeah.
The guy's just a good actor. He
Yeah.
didn't mean anything by it. It's
Played
not
the
trying
guy
to
who shot
offend.
Versace. He also
Yeah.
has never murdered anybody, but yet he murdered 5 people in this show.
Yeah. Well, he better stop because he's probably going to end up murdering somebody if
You
he
know
keeps
what?
acting
Shouldn't
like
be
that.
having murder face.
Yeah. Oh, murder face.
You go
over
get an inmate who's murdered 5 people. It's the only person who can play that role.
there. Oh, man. That's like, I feel like where it's going to get to if
It's getting to,
you know.
And
So-
I'm on the side of some of it, but the snowball effect is like,
Yeah.
I get like the small things like blackface is terrible or like things
Yeah,
like that.
but that's something that
But
they
that-
actually did back in old Hollywood
Yeah.
instead of hiring black actors.
yeah,
That's
and that is
awful.
horrible.
Yes.
But they weren't like, no, we're not hiring these gay people. They're just like, oh, Darren Criss nailed this.
Yeah.
They're like, sorry, man. He crushed it. Look at his
Right.
audition tape. Tell me you did better than that.
Yeah,
You
yeah. Yeah, you didn't.
I'll be the first one to tell you. As
Yeah.
the director, nope.
You didn't do it.
As the
This
director,
guy
there's
did.
5 other people who would have got this
Yeah.
job. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that's such a hard thing. So that's the final. There's no host for the Oscar. For
No,
sure,
have you read the news today? What they're gonna try to do?
No.
They're trying to get the Avengers to piggyback it.
So what do you mean? They're gonna
All the Avengers.
cast is
yep,
gonna.
they're gonna have.
Yep,
Yep, they're gonna have. Yep, the next. They're gonna have.
Oh man.
Robert
And
Downey Jr. will come out to bring 2 people out, and then Mark
is-
Ruffalo will bring 2 people out, and then
That's so crazy. So is that because somehow the cast of the Avengers is contractually obligated to do this? or-
there has to be a reason.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
You don't think they've asked 100 other people if they want to host the Oscars? And they're probably all like, no.
I'm good. I'm good here.
I'm good. I said something in 2009 on Twitter. That
Yeah.
said this restaurant sucks. So
Yeah.
I'll get blown up for that.
Oops. I got diarrhea, and apparently that's illegal.
Yeah, of course, Outback Steakhouse wasn't going to stand for this, and they advertised through the show. So
Dude, oh man, because I remember when Kevin Hart, like, he got it and then it was gone, and I was like, wait, what? I thought Kevin Hart was the host, and I didn't know, so then I had to go look and see
Yeah.
what the issue was, and it's
and
like,
the issue
oh,
was
man.
he said he grew as a person, but he said he wasn't going to apologize.
Right.
He's like, I said it. I was a not newer comic, but it was at that point in my career, and
Yeah.
I said it. I'm not going to take it back.
Yeah,
but-
you know what I would love to understand from a comedian is like, in that thing, do you subscribe to that same newsletter of never apologize?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I'm a pussy.
Yeah, so you'd be like,
I'm
I'm sorry. I just wanted to hold that golden bald man.
Yep. Yeah. No. I'm
I
selling
didn't
out.
mean it was a man because we don't know if it was a
Yeah,
man.
I'm selling
sorry.
out right away.
Yeah.
But that's because of anxiety and my fear of making people hate me.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to dislike me, so if somebody's upset, I will definitely say I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But definitely in my set, Back in the day when I had an Indian girlfriend, I definitely had some semi-offensive Hindu jokes that an Indian comic told me were semi-offensive. He told me they just weren't funny.
Oh yeah.
But that also hurt
And
my
that's
feelings.
what.
And then I stopped telling him.
That's what was offensive about it.
And then
is
later
that
he
it
told
wasn't
me he
funny.
was drunk when he told me that.
Yeah.
And he was sorry.
Yeah.
And then I was like, what? I could have kept doing those bits. He goes, yeah, those bits were fun. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you told me and you seemed offended, so stop doing them.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, man, I was fucked up.
Well, I wonder. Yeah, that is funny. Like, I wonder. With the idea of having a little bit of a pass, I don't know that you do. Okay, being white man.
Yeah, everything's been great.
The history of our people have done some awful fucking
The
things.
worst things.
But I wonder, like, when you have an Indian girlfriend, you kind of get a little bit more of a pass to talk about that because you understand the culture, because that's what, my wife is Indian as well. And,
Yeah.
And so then you understand, like, that
You just
world a little bit.
See things through a different light. Like,
Right.
You've obviously probably, and especially like being from Pennsylvania, and this happened in small town Wisconsin too. Like, you see some shit.
Yeah.
Like, we were in a small town Wisconsin in my grandma's town, and we like took over this bar because like it's a small town and there's like 10 of us there.
Right.
So we went into the bar, and my girlfriend and my cousin showed up later, and we are all offered our second drink before she was offered a drink.
Oh, man.
And I was like, you need to go get the manager.
Yeah.
And he's like, for what? And I go, you know exactly why you have to go get the manager.
And he knew?
And he walked in the back, he got the manager, and the manager came out, and before he turned the corner, he saw us up, and then he said, I'm very sorry.
Oh, God.
And bought our whole tab. 7 of us were bartenders. He would have made more money than he's ever made in his entire life.
Yeah.
Because we all tip big and we all drink heavy.
Yeah.
And it would have been the easiest thing. She also was a bartender.
Yeah.
Who was paying my part of the drinking bill.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah,
we had
and-
money to blow in a small town where drinks are half the price that we're used to paying for.
Yeah. I know. That's
He
horrible.
could have struck gold.
Yeah.
And then now this manager has to comp $150 at $3 a drink.
Yeah.
Because this guy refused to serve a Middle Eastern girl.
Yeah, some racist waiter, but I think that exists for sure in small towns,
Yeah.
and everywhere though. I mean everywhere. But I guess what I was getting at is that for some reason, like you as a comedian dating Indian girl, you kind of get a little bit more of leniency on joking about the Indian culture.
Yeah, because I'm doing it from my point of view. If I was
Right.
doing it straight from like a historical standard,
Yeah.
like now I'm taking the Indian population on my back,
Right.
super fucked up.
Yeah, not
But
good.
if I'm like, here's my experiences, like with her brother having an arranged marriage, me being white now, the only white person in a family of Indian
Right.
people, my experiences, you can't take that away from me. I fully have the right to talk about it.
Right.
Because they're my experiences. I'm not making them up. I get if I made the whole story up, be
Yeah.
mad as hell.
Yeah.
But look, this is what's actually happening to me, and I'm telling you guys a story from my point of view. It's my life.
Right. And that's where I think, like, okay, you have that. So now the guy tells you that the jokes weren't funny, you stop doing them. But you are not dating her anymore. So if you were to continue those, that's what I wondered. If you were to continue those jokes later on in your life while you're not with that person anymore, now it's starting to get...
They don't go over.
Yeah,
I've
exactly.
tried because I've tried to do it on the back end, like because the reason we ultimately broke up was because I was white and
Yeah.
my parents just weren't having it, and it just turned into a big thing, especially
Yeah.
when you start talking about having a family and things like that.
Yeah.
And wanting your parents' love and wanting to be in a family. And I've tried to talk about that, but being a white male, talking
Yeah.
about slight hardship, people do not like it.
Oh, no, yeah. No.
They're like, oh, yeah, well, just get another girlfriend, fucko.
Yeah. Yeah, like, all right.
They're like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Family does hate you.
Yeah.
Because of all the shit white people did to her family.
Well,
yeah.
they got a point.
They do have a point.
Yeah.
We've all seen Gandhi.
Yeah.
And Kingsley.
Yeah. Oh man. So
yeah.
So that, I mean, it's crazy, and I think that kind of brings up just a lot of good points about like what you're able to talk about,
And that's where I learned the line.
Yeah.
In all honesty of my stand-up is I was like I was telling a lot of people the breakup story, and a lot of people were like, this is so funny.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, obviously I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And then I went up and did the same way, and the crowd was like, this is not funny.
Yeah,
And I was like, the
not
comics,
good.
we all loved it.
They no.
We were having so much fun with this. Terrible thing that happened.
The only person in the audience is laughing is that racist guy that wouldn't serve her the drink. Yeah.
He's like, finally, they broke up.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, it's just crazy, and it's sad that the world is still that way. And I think a lot of people want to deny that stuff exists, but it absolutely exists.
They want to, but it does. And in the bigger cities, like we live in LA now, and it's super fine with whatever. But like this is a very small portion of this country.
Yeah, it's pretty diverse in the city, like you know, so it's,
we did elect a game show host.
Yeah,
as president. All those people still aren't serving.
Yeah.
A Middle Eastern person is right.
Yeah. So whoops.
Yeah.
But so all right. So then so we were talking a little bit about like some of the shows you have coming up.
Yeah.
And which ones what do you got that we can do? That you say the 19th. You're
January 19th, Balboa Theater in San Diego, and then Flappers Comedy Club February 6th.
Okay.
In Burbank, California.
You say thick.
Oh.
Oh, I thought you were doing that on purpose. No.
Nope.
That was just
That is my lisp, Chris.
I'm not allowed to joke about that because I don't know about it because I don't have one.
You can
Oh,
joke.
I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed.
I don't
That
have
is
the
true.
experience. We just went over that.
It is very offensive to me and my people.
All right. So most likely if you're in LA, Flappers on the 6th of February is going to be the show.
Vote for me.
Yeah, vote for Josh Florhaug. And dude, funny stuff.
Thank you.
I appreciate you coming on the Bathroom Break podcast.
Thanks for having me.
And what's your Instagram?
J Florhaug Comedy.
Oh, there it is.
You should put that in writing.
Yeah.
You'll see it somewhere. Chris will put it in there.
Yeah, I'll put it in writing. I'll put it on the thing.
Yep.
But plugging that, do you have any YouTube stuff or any like other skits or anything?
J Florhaug Comedy on all social media. I keep everything solid. So J Florhaug Comedy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
Snapchat. You can find me anywhere.
And you have a website too with that?
JFlorhaugComedy.com.
Awesome. Yeah, dude. Well, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Hell yeah. Later.